today I made a video last time, and today I'm going to just give you some tips. Most of them are my personal opinion, and some of them actually is what I saw from online, some websites and those. Today I will do my video in a slightly different way because there's way too many information that I want to share, and it would be better if I can just like list out them in the notepad, and also the paint, because I don't have the Photoshop windows. So I hope you don't mind. Yeah, I know it might look a bit messy. So let's go to our main topic today is about two pigs, because as I said, if you want to go through the collaboration events for Granblue Fantasy, and you might not have a deck for every clan, so what you can do is to just play two pig and try to pick the leader that you are weak in. In general, they are the rating with the game AI, game width and game AI. Swordcraft and Shadowcraft is the strongest. And then Shadowcraft is the strongest, and then Havencraft is a okay one, and then Blood, Rune, and Dragon is slightly weaker, and Forestcraft is very hard to play. So in general, about the take two is more of a single card power than the combo-ish card synergies. So Forestcraft have problem with having a very strong followers by itself, but however, with the new cards now it's more playable than the first two boosters. I really think. So another thing that I would like to mention is about the effect rating. So about how I actually evaluate them is by how fast they can actually interact with the board, and how flexible it is. So Storm, Rush, Ward, when they come into play, on that turn, even without evolve, they are able to do something like toward the. They are able to do something in the board. But Bane and Drain doesn't. So if you are going to pick the followers, so this is how you actually give you a rough idea what you should actually go more go into, and to pick the better one instead of looks very fancy, but at the end of the day it doesn't really work as well. So about the general tips, so pick followers more than spell and amulets. Okay, the thing about why you want to pick more followers is the board presence is very important. So if you have too much spell and amulet, sometimes you just flood in terms of no followers, and then you just lose the board control in early game, which is definitely not where you want to be in. And then another thing is try not to take one cost followers unless it's actually combined with another very good cards. Because one cost follower can get overpowered very easily. So I will talk about that later. So when I'm talking about this, the cost and status, performance and those. So the third thing that I want to talk about is board control is more important than your life total, unless it's lethal. To be very honest, as long as you can control the board, 90% plus of the time, it's very hard for you for your opponent to actually come back without evolve, and unless they really have a good draw, or maybe they have like amazing cards. But as the last last thing I'm going to say is always play everything you can and evolve to get advanced in board, rather than just keep them for like something else, unless it's really powerful effects. Otherwise you should always play everything and evolve, and you can make profitable trades. So there are a few times that I win my opponents when they still have like one or two evolve point, when like it's 7 or 8 PP already. Maybe they have something great in hand, I don't know, but they just die because the board presence is just so huge, and then they are able to pull back from there. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the status list, cost and status list. Okay, generally I'll ask you to pick the followers that have stronger toughness than defense than attack. I will talk about it why later. So this is the list. So yeah, if you can print screen, you can write down in the paper, whatever. Try to remember this. This is going to help you a lot. And from 1 cost to 6 cost state is important, but I think when you reach 7 cost and above, skill is actually more important. And then now I'm going to talk about why I say you should pick the followers with highest defense and attack. Sorry for using pain, but anyway. Let's say you are going first. Okay, in this situation, you are going first. If you use a 2-3, what you can do is you are going to use your 2-3 to attack your. Okay, assume this is the turn 4, and then what happens is you use your 2-3 to attack into your opponent 2-2, and then you use your 2-2 to trade with your opponent 3-2. So what you're left with is a 2-1 healing angel, and your opponent have an anti-bot. So if let's say you're going first, even you're not curved out properly, maybe you miss one drop and then your opponent have some 1 drops. But even if he's playing 1 drop and 2 drop, right, your fighter can just destroy the 1 drop, and then the fighter will still be a 2-1, and then your opponent will still have to have something to deal with the fighter. Otherwise, he was going to trade with his fighter as well. So he's going to get a 1-for-2 just because he's actually on curve and playing a 1 cost followers. So this is one of the reasons why I tell you try not to pick one cost followers there. And 3-2 and 4-3 followers face the same problem, is that their power and toughness is actually like they can be traded by a lower cost followers, which means that you lose of tempo. What do you mean tempo? Is like you are spending more mana but your opponent spend less, and that you basically what happens is the same. So this is what you don't want it to be. So this is the reason why I actually tell you, you should always pick up the followers with like 2-3 or 3-4 status, especially before cost 4, because you cannot evolve. So the raw status is really matters. Yeah, so about the general mana curve, it should look like this. The picture is taken from a game with actually, but anyway, this is how it should be. In the best way is you need a lot of 2, 3, 4 followers, because you want to have something to evolve on turn 4 when you are going second. So about half of your deck should be in this range, 1 to 4. I mean 2 to 4. 2 to 4 should be about half of your deck already, or maybe more than that. And if you can, try to make your 2 cost followers between 8 and 10, because if you miss turn 1, it's fine, it's perfectly fine. But if you're going second and you miss turn 2, so sometimes it will be just so far behind. Unless you have something like Healing Angel in turn 3, otherwise it's really hard for you to actually come back if your opponent just curve out properly. Yeah, so I think this should be the perfect curve, but I think plus minus 1 or 2 is acceptable. So if you have the Bahamut, you can just pick up the Bahamut, and then you don't have curve 7 and 8 is fine as well. The next thing I will talk about is the card that I will suggest you to pick. So now this is the list that I copy paste from the official website. So I know it looks weird because the only software I have is Bane, so bear with it. I think this is among the legends. This is what I would suggest you to pick. So given that what craft you are playing, then you can just take a look. And then most of them are the popular one in the rank, so I think I don't need to explain a lot about it. But Pluto as a removal is very very good in this, because in Take 2, because you can just kill your opponent and still have no matter how big it is, and still have a very good followers in play. And Odin is also a similar things, but it deal with more, because it exiles, so it actually deal with like Mordecai or something like that, so it's even better. Zimitra never really see play recently, but this is very very good card in the especially Take 2, because if you are behind, you can actually evolve the dragon that is summoned, so you can actually get rid of 2 of your opponent's followers. So if let's say you are ahead, you can actually just evolve Zimitra and then get a really amazing board state. So if your opponent don't have like the decree of Tammy's, then basically they are screwed. So other than that, I think everyone, you guys should be very familiar with how they work, and how good they are. So I'm not going to talk a lot about them. And then this is all about the legends. And then the next, I'm going to talk about the gold cards. Yeah, sorry for the white background, because the notepad I don't really know how to actually change the background. So yeah, for Forestcraft, Cynthia is the top pick, and then following by all these Mashes, Maahes, and then Ceridwen, and then Robin Hood. Most of them are value followers, because this is what you really lack of in this deck. So if you, I mean, most of the people will face the same problem. Is you don't have Forestcraft, and Forestcraft seems to be very weak in the take two, but it's still playable. But it depends on your rare and your legends a lot. So if you don't have any of them, then you might, yeah, I mean, you don't have any good ones, then you might have some troubles. But if you have any of them, then your deck is at least playable, in my opinion. So next, we'll be coming up to Shadowcraft, and I think Shadowcraft is the most stable one. And the reason why they actually list it as the top pick is because they have the most pick in Legends and Gold, in my opinion. So the Pact, very good removal in the mid game and late game. Ceridwen is actually Ceridwen is a is a value card rather than a combo piece. It just looks as a value card. It just, you evolve it, it brings you a body that is at least more than 2/2. So it's just about net profit. Yeah. So I don't think I'm going to talk about all the cards one by one. So what I'm going to pick up here is the Balor, which bot wipe, good followers with very good states, because we highly value defense than attack. So with Bane, is capable to kill every followers and have the defense to stay. It's very good. And then Death Breath is the amazing card, your payout card for Shadow. Mordecai, of course, the almost unkillable unless you're gonna have Odin. So these are those must pick. And then for Bloodcraft, to be honest, I think the must pick is Ice Blade, Warfiend, and then come to Revelation, Temptress, and Sadistic Knight. Okay, so after that only you go to the other followers. Okay, so, and then for Havencraft, Tribunal is also okay, but what I would say is the Tammy's and in Incantation Dragon. Okay, whatever. I mean the 9 cost dragon. Yeah. So this is all about the gold cards. Then about the Dragoncraft. Okay, Dragoncraft, something really shines that doesn't really show up a lot in the normal ranking, or rather normal deck, is the Op Dragon, removal for everything, just in play, very good. And then the Raw, basically if your opponent don't have a remover, this is almost end of the game, because I really hard to find something to actually overcome this. Having a 5/5 Storm Dragon is really too good. And then most of the time when like we are in turn 9, what happened is both players should have no evolve point at all. So they are forced to actually be the aggressor and start attacking your face instead of controlling your board, because they know that they can't generate enough value to actually overcome the Raw. So yeah, so this is a very tricky part. Genesis Dragon do what it used to, so nothing much to talk about. For Swordcraft, Emilia, you know, the very good cards, and then Fangblade Slayer doing Front Guard General, Elvidas. Yeah, I mean all these cards is very popular, so I don't think I need to explain a lot. Time Worn, Levy, of course, Runecraft, the key card and the key reason why the Daria is so popular. Few cards that I would like to talk about is the Secret of the Emeralds. So you basically deal 5 damage to a random followers, and then if you have like 9 cost, if I'm not wrong, enhanced, you just summon a Erasmus. Erasmus is really good in Tick 2, to be honest, although it doesn't really see play at all in constructed, but trust me, if you pick him up, he's going to do really a lot of jobs and give your opponent really a lot of troubles. Also another card that I would like to pick up is also the Professor of Taboos. One man army, almost win the game by itself. Junos is also the one man army. So you do realize that in this you can have some small combos, like maybe you need to have the rune or something, but as long as the power is powerful enough to actually overcome the weakness that you need to combo with something, then it is generally good. Yeah, you can see the ancient alchemists also make the cards. So about the neutral card, so my apologize is that I do heard that some of the card is not available in Take 2. So I don't really know which card is not, but I just go through the list and I'm going to just tell you what card that I think you should pick if they are available. So I think Wind God is not available, but if it is, just take it. The Wind God is just amazing in terms of both states and also both power level. So another two things that I would like to talk about is the Goblin Breaker Tina and Lucius Goblin Slayer, and also all the story cards for every leaders. So yeah, so basically all the story cards for all the story leaders for all the leaders are generally good in 2-week because they are meant to pull you behind when you are on the second and you are going to come back from there, because if your opponent curve out properly in the early games, you might have problems to come back. But most of them have the very strong evolve ability, so these two cards I picked them up because of that as well. So yeah, this should more or less conclude my video today. Wait, just let me check if I miss out anything. Yeah, I think this should be it. So this should be it. So once again, thank you for watching. I hope this video really helps you, and I hope to see you guys around soon.